Dear UN Women and Empower Women friends, welcome to our webinar. On behalf of the entire team, I would like to thank you for joining this series of webinars and for the fifth week in a row actively participating in our sessions. I would like to remind everyone that this is the webinar series, The Roadmap to Success. And this series is organized in collaboration with our 2015-2016 Global Champion for Change, Clarissa Rios, who is the founder and director of Ekpa palek. Also, it's a small reminder for you all that our panelists will be, because we still have one session, and are young professionals from different backgrounds who will talk today and in the next week about challenges they overcome during their professional journey. They will share how this experience helped them and what lessons learned they uh, based on their experience. Moreover, they will end up with tips and recommendations for professional development. So today, our topic is benefits of becoming an entrepreneur while studying, but also we will combine a little bit with alternatives way to progress academically. For those who are joining our series every week, they know that last time we had a dear guest but couldn't join for some health reasons, so today he's back, eager to present, and we are happy to modify a little bit the format of today's webinar in order to have all the presentation and all for you, our dear friends and members of Empower Women. And Ekpa palek, of course. So today is our fifth webinar. Closely, we are ending up this webinar series. So we are inviting you to join the session in Spanish on the 17th May, and we will talk about breaking stereotypes during the studies. And today we will moderate the discussion together with Clarissa, and hopefully we will take always interesting questions, and we will try to make sure that all of them are responded, or at least we will combine in a way to give response to as many questions as possible. Clarissa, would you like to say hello to our participants today?
Yes, hello, welcome everybody. We're really excited having our fifth webinar. Thank you to Empower Women. We can do it in English and Spanish. And thank you to all the speakers that join us sharing their journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Clarissa. So to be short, let's go to our presentation. As usually, we'll have our presentations. And today we have wonderful panelists, very interesting, diverse in their activities, and they will take it over with a topic from different angles. I am very happy to present you all in a bit. But before that, just a reminder, if you have any questions during the webinars, you can enter your question into the question pane for the organizer or panelists to answer. So type your questions or raise your hand, and we'll make sure to combine them and to address them at the end of our presentations. So as I said prior to that, wonderful panelists, we are very happy to have them today, all so young and, so enthusiastic and with a big drive. We have Charlene Laidley today, and she will speak about qualities of successful entrepreneurs. We have Jose Avila, who will speak about alternative ways to progress academically. And we have Veronica Santa Fe, who will speak about entrepreneurship as a way to finance your studies. Excited, no? So let's go on. And with this said, I would like to invite Charlene to deliver the first presentation. A little bit about Charlene. I am very proud to say that she is UN Women's Empower Women 2015 Champion for Change. But besides that, she is the founder and chair of a Future-Proof Foundation, which empowers young women and girls to entrepreneurship by providing them access to successful female millennial entrepreneurs in the United Kingdom. Charlene began her career in the luxury good industry, so maybe she will, take some tips and useful recommendation from that industry and deliver this to today's presentation. So in 2006, she launched her first business, Luminous Publicity, representing the Mayor of London to bring creativity and inclusion to Britain inner cities before rebranding the company in 2008. And the most recently, in 2017, Charlene founded a new company, Advancing Women's Leader, a leadership development company that focuses on moving women leaders forward faster. So, as you can see, she is very enthusiastic and she has that drive that needed to become a successful entrepreneurs. So, Charlene, we invite you to deliver the first presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello everyone from a very sunny London. It's such an honour to talk to you all today and to celebrate the power of entrepreneurship in women, which is, as you know, something I am incredibly passionate about. Diana did a fantastic introduction, but what I'll say is my speciality is communications and creating global brands. I started my first business, Luminous Publicity, in 2006. I was in my mid-20s after leaving the LVMH fashion group, where I was frustrated by the lack of diversity, which I'm sure we'll touch on a little bit more later on. I then went to successfully pitch to the Mayor of London, where I led communications promoting diversity and inclusion until the Mayor at the time left office in 2008. Spotting a gap in the market, I rebranded Luminous Publicity to the Latin Communications Group, which went on to become the world's first exclusive watch and jewellery consultancy, representing a number of leading brands across fashion and luxury, from Porsche Design to Sanrio and Hatton Garden, the UK's jewellery quarter itself. Now, in terms of my work with advancing women leaders, as you know, I was really fortunate to become an Empower Women Global Champion for Change in 2015. And I have to say the experience changed my life. So if anyone listening can get involved in that, please, please do. As a result of attending the high-level panel for women's economic empowerment in May 2016, last year, which took place in London, I realised just how privileged my position as an entrepreneur was. I learned that only 3.9% of CEOs are women, which I really found rather shocking. So Advancing Women Leaders, my new venture, which I've launched this year, is really about working with global corporations and looking at how I can support them and my team to get women leaders forward faster. And, just to talk about Adobe, who is actually one of our first clients, so it's really great to be working with an American global tech firm to do that. But really, some of the things that have come out of conversations so far has been really like, how can we improve the confidence of women who are aspiring to CEO level, and how can men in organisations support them? So it's not just a question of obviously having dialogue with women alone, but it's really how we can get men involved too. The Future Proof Foundation is, I guess, where I started my labour for service leadership and helping women, and I basically started Future Proof as by accident. I met a young lady who came up to me, who approached me and just said, "You're very confident, you're doing things in the world. I want to get ahead, but I don't know how. Will you help me?" Through working with the City of Westminster, we realised that over 50% of young women in the City of Westminster aged 18 to 34 want to start their own business, but they just don't know how. So really that's what the Future Proof Foundation is about. It's about supplying women with inspiration, so young women and also girls, by the way, with inspiration, but also the how-to. And one of the things that we've done successfully, which I'm really, really proud of, is we've actually been able to bring together some phenomenal British, successful millennial entrepreneurs who are scaling their businesses and creating huge impact, to actually sit down and talk with aspiring female entrepreneurs for the next generation and share with them tips as to how they can get where they want to get to. And I think one of the things I hope you can all relate to is that if you don't have a role model, you don't have someone who you've seen do what you want to do, it can be really difficult to do it. And I think I studied horology in Switzerland. It's very predominantly male environment, and I definitely felt that way when I launched my business. And of course, prior to that, working in luxury as a woman of colour, I was definitely a minority. So again, I was used to, and I could understand the importance of giving women, especially young women and girls, a role model that they could touch, speak to, and relate to. So I've been doing this entrepreneurship thing for a good while now, and I've also, as I said, engaged with a number of really amazing female founders in the United Kingdom through my foundation, the Future Proof Foundation. So what I'd like to do today is really just share with you some of the qualities that I've seen in these phenomenal women, and some of the qualities that I've had to develop myself, and really kind of get you to think about the question, achieving success as a female entrepreneur, what does it take? And then, maybe you can kind of think about the qualities you have while you're studying and those that you may need to develop. So imagine you decide to become an entrepreneur. You decide to set up a business. What are the qualities that you think really matter? Well, the first one is vision. And we all know that you need total commitment, real passion, and a good USB to make a business work. But you also need a strong sense of vision, not just for your company, but also for your own life. What does happiness look like to you? And basically then being in a position where you can design your business around a happy life for you. For me, that's going for a run every morning around Hyde Park, and being able to be economically empowered, empower others, and spend time with my friends and family, and have that balance. But what is it for you? So really looking at vision, purpose, but that also includes a clearly defined sense of mission, a sole mission that you and your team can get to, that's compelling enough to get you out of bed in the morning, because being an entrepreneur is hard work, especially at startup stage, but also not just motivate you, but motivate your team to commit fully to what you're doing. And that shared goal creates a feeling of trust, which is just really important. And then I'll just add to that is understanding the values that's going to help you deliver that mission. So that's just something to think about. Now, the second quality of successful entrepreneurs that we see is they take action. Now, you can have a great idea, but an idea is worthless unless you act on them. And that's what successful founders do. They wake up every morning, and regardless whether it's snowing, raining, whatever, or however hard it is, they make things happen. And just getting into that mentality of taking action every day is just so important. The third, resilience. Now, when you run your own business, you'll face new challenges every day, and you have to be able to see these challenges as hurdles rather than insurmountable walls. You have to instantly seek out the solution rather than focusing on the problem itself. So as soon as you can see each of these hurdles as chances to get better and learn and enjoy that process rather than as mistakes, and I failed a lot, by the way, you'll just grow so much quicker. It's really about the bounce back rate when things don't go well, when the client says no, when you pitch and pitch and pitch and it's no, you've got to just bounce back. It's just part of the game. Number 4 is create and add value, and this one's really important to us because we are disruptors, we innovate, and I've always, deciding to launch the world's first watch and jewelry company, people are like, why would you do that? Especially as a black woman, why would you go to Switzerland and sit there with old dinosaurs? No offense to anyone who considers themselves an old dinosaur listening, but why would you do that? And for me, innovation, creation, and adding value is so vital, and I just want to continuously improve things. But to succeed as an entrepreneur and create a great business, you have to lose your ego. And coming from luxury, that was quite hard for me to do, I'll be honest. But I did get there. I am getting there, I hope. So maybe someone will tell me about that. But there's no room for ego in your business. You have to be open to constructive criticism. You need to listen to your customers, and most importantly, take on board the thoughts of your team, and then adjust your product or service accordingly. it's easy to think that your way is the right way, especially when it's your own company, but there's so many ways to make what you're doing better. And I surround myself with people that will happily, rip my ideas to shreds so that I can build better businesses. And taking everyone's views into account is really essential. So leveraging technology, the importance of this for scaling a business is crucial, and I've learnt a great deal about this from Cheryl Kutu CBU, who's the chairman of an initiative that I'm involved in called Founders for Schools, and also FBC to UK, Silicon Valley comes to the UK. It's all about how we as women, we think about going global rather than staying local. It's the same effort, trust me. So why not from the get-go say, wow, I want to take over the world? Traditionally, women tend to think of themselves as business owners rather than entrepreneurs. A woman will say, I want to start a business. A man tends to say, I'm an entrepreneur or I'm a businessman. So it's really important about the language we use and also where we're going. And basically, that we are thinking about scalability and how we can use technology to leverage that. 6, know your unique selling point. So you need to be able to acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses, and this does tie into creating and adding value and losing your ego. It's about knowing when you need help and acknowledging that someone else knows best. For me, that was acknowledging really early on that my skills lie in the creative side of the company, all my companies, in creating the brand, in communicating our message and so on, which then allows me to allow someone else in to help to drive forward finance, business development, people management, so on. No one is best at everything and no one has time to do absolutely everything. I'd never get to go for a run. So focus on what you're good at and learn to delegate the rest, know your strengths. 7, profitability. I really find that thinking about profitability of a business from the start is best for building a more successful business. You've obviously got to know the numbers, and I find with female founders in the UK, especially young women, they don't feel very comfortable talking about money. They don't feel very comfortable asking for money, and this could be a British thing. I'll stiff up a lip. We shouldn't talk about that. That's not polite. But it's just so important here, of course, for all women that we get comfortable with that. But ultimately, a good business is so much more than financial returns. It's about creating something that your customers believe in and that you truly connect to and want to feel part of. I think there's so much choice out there. You need to give your customers a reason to choose you. Being a values-based business, being a values-based person, and doing the right thing is a good reason for people to want to work with you. And obviously, having a clear mission and positive mindset that allow you to see the bigger picture. And finally, before I close, is teams and teams win. And I learned this the hard way because I really was one of those kind of people that didn't want to let go of the reins. But you need amazing people. Your team is everything. So find a team that believes in your values and that excel in the areas that you're weakest. Surrender your ego, and you need to be able to be the dumbest person in the room. And there's a lovely picture of my team. Thank you, Ilinka, if you're listening. She's a fellow UN champion who I was really lucky to work with last year. But my team, there's strength in diversity. I want as many different people around me as possible, and I'm so comfortable with being the dumbest person in the room, so we can all achieve what the goal is. So I just wanted to share with you finally some of our successful entrepreneurs in the UK who we're working with. So Deliciously Ella, she's one of our biggest stars, and we were really lucky to have her last year supporting us for our initiative in the UK. And she said, being an entrepreneur is all about encompassing challenges and encompassing, challenging and exciting. For me, it's about optimism, surrounding yourself with the best people possible, realising that biggest mistakes can lead to the biggest improvements in your company. And most of all, of course, it's really, really, really hard work. And then Florence from MDM Flow, it's a fantastic makeup brand. She said, to be a successful female entrepreneur, your passion and desire to build something of value needs to override your fear of failure. And isn't that so true? So thank you guys for listening today. I hope some of the things I've shared have been of value, and I'm really, really happy, Diana, that you've invited me to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charlene. This was a wonderful presentation. So many insightful notes. I mean, economic opportunities, challenges, going global, scalability. You know how we say, if it's entrepreneurship, it's not scalable, it's not sustainable. Innovation, creativity, the room for ego. I mean, we have so much to unpack. And I would just wanted to say that women entrepreneurs can create far-reaching benefits for themselves, their communities and society, but without equal opportunities and access to support services, many will not succeed. And what we see today across the globe is that women have created innovative social enterprises, cooperatives and profit-oriented businesses, often creating jobs for other women in the process, similarly with what you did with your team. So we will be happy to talk about all of this in a bit, but now we will go to the next presentation, and I invite Clarissa to present our next panelist who will talk about alternative ways to progress academically. So we'll go back, we'll step a little bit, go back to the previous webinar, and we'll mix and match a little bit, but I think it's all a combination of how we develop our personalities. So Clarissa, back to you to tell us a little bit about Jose.
Thank you so much, Diana. If you go to the next slide, that will be very helpful as well. I could start saying that I have the great privilege to meet Jose because he's also a mentor at the Ekpa palek project where we are helping Latin American professionals to develop professionally. So Jose is a passionate biologist from Peru, and his research is about seaweed and using social networks for spreading scientific information, something that is really great and basic for nowadays. He has a master and he's doing currently a doctor's program at the University of Chosun in South Korea. And he has been an intern at the 5th International Management Excellence Program of the United Nations Development Program in 2013. And he has a lot of experience in marine conservation projects involving coastal communities, environmental education, and seaweed identification and culture. The reason why he's here today is because he's going to tell us how to use Facebook and social media to achieve your career goals. Thank you so much, Jose.
Jose, back to you.
Everybody. Okay. So thanks for this introduction.
Jose, we would kindly ask you to speak a little bit more loud because we barely hear you.
Okay. Okay. Hello everybody. Thanks for the introduction. Well, as you know, I'm Jose Avila. I am Peruvian biologist. I'm doing a master degree doctor program at Chosun University in South Korea. And today I want to present you this topic that is alternative ways to progress academically. So first I want to start showing in this slide what is the classical way that research usually take. Commonly people who are near to finish university or who have just recently graduated starts as a junior research. Well, then we start to make projects, experiments, all these things, and we start to getting results from that experiments. And as a result, we publicate our findings in scientific journals. So this publication is the common way to show our quality as a researchers to scientific community. And also they open new doors for us. That is new projects, new positions, new jobs. So this is the classical way for researchers or people who is involved in science. So this classical way have a counterpart that I call or is called personal marketing. So this personal marketing is based on communication, but not only communication to other people from scientific community. Also communication implies share and spread our scientific knowledge and findings to normal people in a way that they can understand us and recognize the importance of what we are doing. So it's important to keep a balance between these. For For this presentation, I'm not going to explain the theory of personal marketing, but I want to tell you a story, my personal experience that I call from Facebook page to doctoral program in South Korea. So maybe you're wondering, is this possible to get a scholarship using only social network? So let's start in the following slide. So everything starts in 2011. I was in the fourth-year university, and I started helping in different kind of laboratories. And I found my passion. My passion is called algae. I define my passion as what I love and what world needs. However, with this passion, I found different weak points. For example, there are few opportunities nowadays for algae research in Peru. There are few psychologists, people who study algae in Peru, and people doesn't know too much about the importance of these organisms nowadays. So after found my passion, I decided to study very hard. I was lab assistant. I started to read a lot about seaweeds. I started to make some small projects, and also I started to do my thesis in order to get more knowledge about my research field. But at the same time, I started to work, you see, in marine conservation NGO, especially in marine animals. So this work experience helped me a lot, because while I was working in this NGO, I started to ask to myself, why not share this information with other people? Because I was working with fishermen, with coastal communities, I was spreading this all information about marine environment. So I started to share the information regarding algae, regarding seaweeds to different kind of people. And also I started to present my first works in scientific meetings. So this is communication. Communication, so for fishermen, coastal communities, for normal people, non-scientific people, and also for scientific people, scientific community in these meetings. But this is not all. We can start to make face-to-face communication, but nowadays we have social networks. So I asked to myself again, if everybody uses social networks nowadays, why not use it for spread this scientific information? So I started to search if there were fan page about seaweeds in Peru or all over the world, and actually I found a big gap. There wasn't fan page of seaweeds in Peru, and there was a few fan page of algae all over the world. So this gap was at the same time a big opportunity for me. So I decided with some colleagues to create a fan page. As you see in the picture, it's called Seaweeds from Peru, in Spanish, Macroalgas marinas del Perú. So the idea was to become attractive or more popular these organisms for Peruvian people, but also for whoever was interested on them. Because most of the information about algae are in scientific publications, I decided to translate this information for non-scientific publication, as you see in the next pics. So we start to publish different kind of information in simple words for any kind of people. Also in different posts, I present the main findings of different meetings, also different kind of curious things about seaweeds and many things. So by making this information understandable for non-scientific community, we can help to eliminate knowledge barriers. Also, a very important result of this fan page was that we start a networking, because this fan page can reach different people. We start to keep in touch with different different people all over the world, not only scientific, but also many important people all over the world. So we start communication, we start also to make some research, to start social networks. If we take a look to the fan page, we can say that also each visitor of this fan page can become in a new opportunity. And that's what happened to me. What happened to me was the one one visitor, specifically a Peruvian doctor student in South Korea, who was working also in algae, found really interesting my fan page. So he was really happy to see how algae in Peru were promoted by this fan page. And after talking with him during several months, he recommended me to different professors in South Korea who were working in algae. So actually, it was a big surprise. Uh, Actually, in this part, there are two concepts that I want to highlight. Here is perseverance and constant work. Even I was recommended, I was rejected at the beginning. Despite of that, I still keep working on my thesis and also trying to look other opportunities. Because my perseverance and constant work, my colleague in South Korea decided to recommend me again, but this time to his professor. And this time, I've made. So this big opportunity was a new beginning for me, a big change to my life. From Peru to South Korea, for doing a master doctor program in seaweeds in my passion. Uh, Studying abroad is part of my academic success. So we can describe some elements that together can combine and help to reach academic success. First, passion. You have to know what is your passion. Then hard work. This is the classical way, working in the lab, etc. Very important, and the main topic of this presentation is personal marketing. This implies communication and social networks. And finally, recognize and seize the opportunities. All together can help you to reach academic success. And as a conclusion of this presentation, I want to give you some tips and recommendations to you, dear audience. First, there is no magical formula for success. What I present here is my own experience, and the goal of this is only to help you to realize what is the best for you for achieving academic success. So just take all of this as an advice. I hope with this presentation you can find your own alternative ways to academic success. Second, find your passion. This is the very important starting point. Make your topic interesting for any kind of people. And also very important is interact with other people, not belonging to your own career. In my case, I interact with people from mathematics, from arts, marketing, etc. So know your strengths, and finally have a very strong confidence in yourself. So I hope these tips and recommendations can help you to achieve your academic success. And I wanna say thank you so much for hear this presentation. I hope you can find all this information and our experience very useful for your future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jose. Wow. Well, first of all, we are very happy that you feel better and that you had the opportunity to join us today. And, you know, I just had a revelation because it was such an interesting way of presenting, you know, coming from your passion and from your necessity and then going to the experience and then the PhD. But I hope all the attendees who join us today for the webinar notice several patterns, and I will just mention several. Personal marketing, passion, networking, perseverance, constant work, topic, interact with other people. So if you go back a little bit to Charlene's presentation, you would see that she mentioned something similar in a different words, but in a way they I don't know, co-create and combine with each other. There's kind of some similar traits and skills that you need to have for success in your academical work, but also in entrepreneurship. It's a very big sign of question for me now, and I'm eager to know from the panelists, but also from the attendees, if they kind of see the pattern. And I cannot stress that not only it is hard to make a living, but many women and men over there use micro entrepreneurship and you know their success in their career to face all these security risk and to basically um, have this opportunity to employ themselves and to often turn to self-employment as a source of income, setting up home-based micro businesses. So looking forward to touch upon all of this a little bit later, but now I would like to invite our third panelist, who will speak about entrepreneurship as a way to finance your studies, Veronica. So, Clarissa, would you like to come in and to tell us a little bit more about Veronica and her wonderful work?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Jose. What a wonderful presentation. Also, Charlene, I can see that you both have the same advice, which is to find your passion. I'm very happy to introduce Veronica. She's also a mentor at Ekpa palek, and I'm very happy with the story that she's going to tell because she is the clear example of how thinking differently and using entrepreneurship can really help not only you, but your community to develop further. Veronica is doing currently a PhD at the School of Environment and Sustainability at the University of Saskatchewan. I'm so sorry, I cannot pronounce it. She holds a Master in Social and Environmental Studies at Flaxo, Ecuador. She also has a Bachelor in Tourism Management at the Universidad Tecnológica Equinoccial. She also has 10 years of experience working with rural and indigenous communities and empowerment projects related to sustainability, gender, fair trade, agroecology, and community-based tourism. Her 4 years of teaching experience also add up to her CV, and she is the founder of Lindo Lindo and co-creative Turismo Entrepreneurship, and she will tell us much more about it in her presentation. Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you, Clarissa.
Hi.
Veronica, back to you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody, and thanks for this introduction. I want to start my presentation recognizing the incredible work that indigenous women farmers do in the Global South countries in order to keep their traditional food systems and cultural heritage among their families, communities, and future generations. I recognize them because I belong to a rural farming community in Ecuador, and I'm got inspired by them to study my PhD in environment and sustainability and to start my own entrepreneurships. In this slide, I want to tell you briefly why I decided to study a PhD abroad. Actually, there were several reasons that motivated me to come to study my PhD in Canada, but I will share here the most important ones. First, I am in the field of the social science. I've been always very critical from where and who is creating the knowledge to understand and to give solutions to the Global South countries' problems, also known as developing countries of the third world. From my experience, when I studied my bachelor in tourism management in Ecuador, all the academic knowledge that I learned came from authors and institutions in the global north countries. So I decided that I want to create academic knowledge in my field, sustainable tourism, in a contextual way. Sorry, can you return to the other slide, please? Thank you. Well, and my second reason, I'm always passionate about research in sustainable tourism and communities empowerment topics. The third reason is related to the emergency to improve the education in Ecuador and the need for professionals with a PhD degrees to contribute for knowledge creation in Ecuador. And the fourth one, why not? I belong to a family that suffered poverty and lack of opportunities, especially the women in my family. Before me, nobody in my family had the opportunity to attend the university, neither study a master. We didn't know what a PhD degree means. And I have to highlight that despite my dad and my mom didn't have the opportunity to go to school, they've always worked hard to help me and my brother and my sister to support and to complete our dreams. They have been always entrepreneurs, and I think that I got this from them. Now, please, can we go to the next slide? Thank you. Well, after telling you the main reasons that motivate me to study a PhD degree in Canada, I want to tell you the main challenges and issues that I have to overcome to achieve this dream. By 2014, I decided I want to study a PhD to develop my research on the relationship between indigenous people, traditional food, and tourism. I applied with this topic to several universities, and I got accepted in 4 of them, 3 in the UK and 1 in Canada. despite my research topic was interesting for them, my English level was not good enough to be considered for any scholarship from these universities. They recommend me to travel to these countries to take courses in academic English in order to improve the language. This means that I had to pay my language studies there. In the case of the UK, this was impossible because it was very expensive for me, but I still had the option in Canada. It's important that I have to mention that I have the alternative to apply to the Ecuadorian government scholarship agency that offers scholarships which include language studies, but in that year, 2014, this agency decided to stop funding postgraduate studies in areas related to social science, where I was, well, summarizing. I had a dream. I got accepted in these universities because my research topic was interesting, but I didn't have any scholarship options because my English level was not good enough. So I looked for my plan B. I used all my savings and got 2 bank loans in order to get enough funds to get my student visa approved. Once in Canada, I applied for several scholarships, but I got rejected from all of them. I realized that maybe the focus of my research is affecting because my case study is in Ecuador and not in Canada. And actually, I was tempted to change my research and do something about Canada, but I told myself, Veronica, your dream is not only to get a PhD degree, it is also about creating knowledge that will benefit my people in Ecuador. Well, later, because of my good standing and high scores in the courses that I was taking during my PhD studies, my department, the School of Environment and Sustainability, provide me with a scholarship that helps me to pay my tuition. However, I still need to fund my life expenses and funds for my research. Here is where my entrepreneur ideas came. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay. So my first alternative to get additional incomes actually was to find a part-time job, but most of them required at least 20 hours, which is not good for my studies progress. Additionally, the available part-time jobs that I found were not related to my field. For this reason, I took the decision to start my own business and connect them to my academic interests. That is how Lindo Lindo and co-creative tourism came to light. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay. Well, I created Lindo Lindo, which is a business focused on the cacao and chocolate tradition of Ecuador and community empowerment. My fiance and I made this chocolate here in Saskatoon, in Canada, and we sell this at farmers market and some organic stores in the city. I also sell handcrafts made by communities that I worked before in Ecuador under fair trade principles. And using online tools, we communicate and we design together with these communities the products that I want to here to sell. And we are also always trying to connect them with this chocolate tradition. Can we go to my next slide, please? Thank you. Okay, my other entrepreneurship is more academic. Actually, it started as a blog where I share my thoughts and updates about my research. This blog is in Spanish and allows me to connect with several stakeholders interested in my topic in Ecuador and other countries in Latin America. Actually, some professionals and institutions have required my services to teach online courses in topics related to sustainable tourism and research methodologies. I love this project because I can share my research in Spanish and also I can get some funds for my studies here in Canada. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? Can we go there? Thank you. Okay, based on my experience, I want to share here some learnings about being an entrepreneur while doing your studies abroad. These ideas that I'm sharing here also came from Kiela Caurillo, an incredible woman from Mexico who did her master in the same university as me. She had a similar experience studying a postgraduate and being an entrepreneur. Well, here are some of the factors that I think you have to consider if you want to do something like I did. Be disciplined, especially in managing your time between your studies and your business. Be able to have multitask skills, self-motivation, innovation, passions, responsibility, support system. I will stop here. What is the support system? It means care about your family and friends relationships. In my case, my family in Ecuador, my fiancé here support me a lot and have kept me to be motivated with my studies and with my business. And finally, this is especially for people from developing countries studying in developed countries. Be proud of who you are and where you come from. Believe me, if I have to say what has been my main success factors so far is this. I've been always be proud of being a Latina woman and being from Ecuador. Can we go to the next slide, please? Well, some of the positive outcomes that I have with this experience, funding my research, I had opportunities to get involved in the local community, especially at farmers market, get connected with people. That has been awesome for me. I'm always promoting my home country, Ecuador. I overcome compassion levels in fair trade to empower and strength. And I think this is very important. Being an entrepreneur has helped me to improve my English and oral communication skills. Selling my products has been an incredible tool to improve my English and feeling more confident talking in front of people. In the next slide, please. Can we go to the next? Thank you. Well, I had some challenges too in combining studies and being an entrepreneur. First, managing time between studies and work has been hard. Sometimes I have to stop and say, hey, Veronica, what are your priorities in some periods? And also, sometimes it's necessary to establish clear barriers between your studies, your family, and your business. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah. To finish, I would like to share with you what are my future goals and dreams that I have. Well, I want to finish this PhD degree and create my own consultant organization in sustainable tourism. I want to continue developing the co-creative research spaces among scholars, practitioners, and students, especially in Latin America, through this blog that I told you before. I want to expand my fair trade and organic business to continue supporting my community partners to sell their products here or everywhere in the world. And this one will be maybe crazy, but every time I get rejected a scholarship and start growing and growing this dream. I want to create a scholarship or bursary for women in the rural areas for formal or non-formal education in topics related to sustainable farming and sustainable tourism. I hope I can do this through my business or through my consultant business later in the future. And yes, the last slide is basically say thanks, gracias in Spanish, for attending to this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Veronica. Again, one more inspirational presentation, and you know, I couldn't agree more with several things that you pointed. First of all, support system, and as in the case of Jose's presentation and Charlene, it's all about friendship, community, a good team. And then you mentioned something, carry your identity in whatever you do and wherever you go. And I think this is something that I treasure a lot as well, is because our identity and our you know, because we are different, it makes the world a better place, but also it makes the creativity. It's a space where we can share the ideas and challenge ourselves and our colleagues. So something to carry on. Thank you very much, panelists, for your presentations. Amazing ones, inspirationals, all about your passion and about how to think and how to challenge an innovative approach to whatever we want to do and how to do it successfully. So we do have several questions, and unfortunately 10 minutes only for Q&A session, so let's take them all. Laura is asking, so first of all, thanks for the great presentations and congratulations for all your accomplishments. My question is, how do you build your team skills? How do you make sure that everyone is always on the same page and acting for the same purpose? I would suggest everyone to respond quickly to this, and then we'll go to the next ones. Charlene? Jose, maybe you can start. Veronica?
Well, I can. Oh,
Go on, Veronica.
Oh, well, I think it's important always trust on your team and don't overcharge yourself with responsibilities that you can give to others, because sometimes we think that we have that knowledge and we can do it by ourselves. So I think it's important to trust and to delegate responsibilities among our team.
Thank you. Jose?
Well, actually, I agree with Veronica. In my personal experience, I always try to trust with other people and to trust on the skill of each people in order to achieve our goals, as I've been doing in my fan page. My fan page is not only me, it's other colleagues, and I really trust in my other colleagues in their work.
Thank you. We lost for a little while Charlene, but we hope she will get back and we will give her the opportunity to suggest something on these questions. But from our side, from UN Women Empower Women, and I think Ekpa has a long several activities on that. We always try to organize this type of webinars and session discussion in order to speak about skills. And even now what we do is we talk about skills, and we also talk about how to enhance those in a very easy, innovative, and also on the daily basis. I would like to inform our community that we are currently working on our virtual skills school We Learn. The prototype will be starting on the 15th of September, and over there you'll have the opportunity to take the trainings on different courses depending of your interest and learning path. So we are eager to work together to develop these skills. And Laura, couldn't agree with you more. It's not easy to make everyone to be on the same page, but a good entrepreneurs and a visionary needs to have this quality to, as Charlene stressed, to take the ego away, understand each and every member of its team, and know how to create this this unique way of functioning into the positive advantage. Asma is suggesting to is actually asking you all, where do you find opportunities and how you decided to create an NGO or versus a fan page or versus an entrepreneurship activity for profit. If you can expand on this, Veronica and Jose.
Excuse me, how was the question, sorry?
So the question is how you decided to kind of create an initiative or a blog or not an entrepreneurship for business. So when do you know it should be NGO or for profit?
Well, I had experience a lot of years in Ecuador working with communities in fair trade business, and I learned that sometimes it's necessary to have a leadership, especially when you want to sell their products. It's about profit and not profit, like have a good combination of this, and always be fair with the producers. And these relationships that I keep with my friends in Ecuador with these communities, they asked me when I came to Canada, they asked me, Veronica, would you like to help us to sell our products in Canada? And I told them, I don't think I can because I don't have time. I have to focus on my PhD. But as I told them, as I told you during this presentation, I didn't have any funds. So I said, oh, maybe it's time to consider that they were asking me to sell their products, and actually it works very good because it helps to I help them to sell, but I help myself to support my studies here too.
Well, in my case, my advice is to know very well what is your area. In my case, the research area. Actually, in scientific community, most of the opportunities are always most of the opportunities are related to recommendations. Maybe there are not like they are not open opportunities, but in some cases professors want students and they ask to other students, please recommend me another guy, another woman for this job. And it's, in this context, it's very important to show you to the world. And in my case, the best way to show me to the world is, as I told you, doing this fan page. Of course, there are several ways to show your work, to show all your knowledge. But I think nowadays social networks is very important to show you to the world, and also this way many people can know you and also can start to recommend you to different programs in different part of the world. So that is my
Thank you so
experience.
much. Thank you so much, Veronica and Jose. It seems that we have some audio problems, so please bear with us. We are all situated in different parts of the world. We do appreciate the participation of our panelists and of our friends who joined the webinar. So if you cannot hear 30 seconds here, 20 seconds here, please know that we are still all together online. One more interesting question from Gracie. Hi, this was wonderful presentation. I would like to know, how do you overcome cultural barriers? In sub-Saharan Africa, one of the biggest challenges we face is women in rural areas are unable to get access to loans, education, work. So it will be interesting to hear from you, Jose and Veronica, considering that you have, coming from, for example, Jose, you come from Latin America and you study in Asia. So if you can share a quick update on that, Grace will be very happy to hear something about the cultural barriers and how to overcome those. Jose?
Okay, thanks for that. Very interesting question. Actually, yes, it's one of the most difficult parts of studying abroad. Actually, here in Korea is a totally different culture. But I think that the best advice I can say is that you should focus on what you are doing. If you are good and if you love what you are doing, I think trying to adapt to this new environment will be really easy. As it happens to me, at the beginning I was really nervous, but I started to work very hard in my teens. All my environment or my friends in my lab start to help me to adapt to this new culture. So if you keep in mind what you are doing, your main goal, I think adapting to the new culture is not going to be so difficult. So that is my personal advice. Anyway, it's difficult. You have to try to overcome that. But I think if you keep in mind your goal, it's very important.
Thank you, Jose. Very useful advice. Veronica?
Well, for me, it has been very difficult, very hard to adapt to this to the Canadian culture, to the West Canadian culture, and sometimes I got homesick, and I was like, I want to go back to Ecuador, but I had the opportunity here to my fiance's families from Canada, and they helped me a lot to get in the Canadian culture. But for me, the most important has been always being real, always being never trying to change who I am. Sometimes my accent, sometimes my ways and my cultural ways. I'm always saying, look, how is I am, how is in Ecuador, and I'm here to share with you this. I'm not saying that this is better or it's worse. I'm only here to share part of my culture. Yeah.
Thank you, Veronica. Again, going back to the identity, and because it was in the question address, it was mentioned about the rural woman and the domestic obligation. From UN Women point of view, I would like to add that domestic obligations means women have few opportunities to access training or business networks or to travel to distant markets to sell their produce. So similarly, women are less likely than men to have access to the technology that could enhance productivity or obtain useful information. So researchers shows that proven ways to support female entrepreneurs include enhancing their access to financial services, supply chains, public and private procurement opportunities, technology, and other modern equipment. So just to mention that women's business networks are very important. Mentors and role models can also help businesses take off while empowering women and transforming their community. And this is why we organized these webinar sessions and series in general to help every one of us to understand and to take our idea forward and to perceive that nothing is impossible. So because of the time constraints, I would like to mention that we will share this recording and the PowerPoint as usual via email, and we continue the discussion via Ekpa, palek and empowerment.org, and please feel free to share your questions via email if you want to connect with Charlene, Jose, Veronica. Separately, we'll be happy to connect you further. And just to finish today's session, I would like to ask our panelists what are the final advice that they will give to our friends and Empower Women members, and also maybe to mention what were challenges you faced to promote your interventions in your country, and also in building your career path or your entrepreneurship path. We will try to see if Charlene is online, but let's try to start with Jose.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you everybody for inviting me to this presentation. I think the final recommendation is very simple. Just have a very strong confidence in yourself, but also a strong confidence in the people who surround you, because also that people can help you to achieve your academic success, and also the people that can help you to overcome different kind of problems like cultural barriers, etc. So having a strong confidence on yourself and also to other people is really important for what you want to do in your life.
Thank you, Jose. Veronica, back to you.
Well, I think if you don't have, do it today, establish your goals. What is your goals? What are the dreams that you want to achieve? And do it like a plan. Do a plan, a schedule. What do you have to do to accomplish these goals? And I will say something important that it was very useful for me. Don't waste money in things that you don't need. That was very important because, as I told in the beginning, I didn't have enough funds, but all the savings that I had before when I was working, all that savings helped me now to achieve this dream that I have. So don't waste money. in things that don't work and keep that money to achieve your dreams. That's my final recommendation.
Thank you, Veronica. I'll just check if Charlene is on the line and she can hear us. Charlene? Unfortunately, Charlene has some technical and audio difficulties to connect. We are sad, but I'm sure Charlene will carry on the positive message that she had during the presentation.
Oh.
On the challenges, overcoming all of them and getting all the opportunities and going global and scale that business. And we thank and we thank all our panelists, Charlene, Jose, Veronica, for great presentation and for being today with us at our actually final webinar in English from the series. I would like to remind everyone on behalf of Ekpa Palek and Empower Women, but we still have the final one in Spanish upcoming on the 17th of May, and Clarissa with my colleague Cecilia will be presenting that one, and so please join us on the 17th of May, 10 a.m. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being today. Thank you for listening to the inspirational panelists. So we are always happy to hear you and to share the advices. With more empowerment at work and Ekpa Palek, we are always here, and if you have any questions, please connect and we will join the conversation and we'll spread the word, continuing to do that online. Have a good day, everyone.